Welcome back to the coin world. Old coin review and value, the ultimate destination for rare coin discoveries, numismatic treasures, and the hidden value in your pocket change. Today, we dive deep into the fascinating world of the 1975 Liberty One Dime, a coin surrounded by intrigue, historical significance, and even a bit of mystery. Let's uncover the legacy of this iconic American dime. The year 1975 was significant for America, marking the end of the Vietnam War and a time of deep economic transition. Amid all this, millions of coins were struck, including the dime bearing the name Liberty and the date, 1975, seemingly ordinary, but hiding a rich story. The Liberty One Dime of 1975 is officially the Roosevelt Dime, named after President Franklin D. Roosevelt, who led the country through the Great Depression and World War II. His face was first placed on the dime. In 1946, 1 year after his death, Roosevelt's image on the dime was not just a tribute to a beloved president, it also honored his association with the March of Dimes, a campaign to fight polio, the disease that affected Roosevelt for most of his life. The 1975 dime continues the long-standing Roosevelt design, created by John R. Sinek, the chief engraver of the U.S. Mint. Sinek's initials JS can be found at the base of Roosevelt's neck. On the obverse front of the 1975 dime, Roosevelt's left-facing portrait is accompanied by the word Liberty along the left rim. Beneath his chin appears the motto "In God We Trust," with the date 1975 on the lower right. The reverse back of the dime features a torch in the center, symbolizing liberty. On either side are an olive branch piece and an oak branch, strength and independence. Surrounding the design is the inscription, United States of America, and the denomination, 1 dime. The motto "E pluribus unum," meaning out of many, one is also included, a standard on many American coins since the 18th century. What makes the 1975 Liberty Dime especially intriguing is what doesn't exist now. 1975 dimes were officially minted with an S mint mark for circulation, yet this fact became the center of one of America's biggest numismatic mysteries. The U.S. Mint facilities in Philadelphia, Denver, and San Francisco were responsible for coin production. In 1975, Philadelphia dimes had no mint mark. Denver used a D, and San Francisco used S, but only for proof coins sold in special sets. For regular circulation, no dimes were issued with the S mint mark in 1975, meaning all S minted coins from that year were proof only, never meant for pockets or cash registers. However, in an astonishing twist, only two known 1975s Roosevelt dimes without the S mint mark have ever surfaced, making them one of the rarest and most valuable modern coins. These error coins, known as 1975 no S proof dimes, were struck in San Francisco but mistakenly lacked the identifying mint mark. They made their way into proof sets and were unknowingly distributed. The first of these no S 1975 dimes was discovered in 1977 by a collector examining a proof set purchased directly from the U.S. Mint. To understand the significance of the 1975 Liberty Dime, we must rewind to the Coinage Act of 1792, which established the U.S. Mint and standardized American currency. Though the dime denomination wasn't introduced until 1796, its foundation was laid by this act. The term dime comes from the Latin word decimus, meaning tenth. It's a direct reference to the coin's value, 1/10 of a dollar, and makes it one of the oldest denominations in American coinage. The first dimes featured Lady Liberty on the obverse, and from 1796 to 1945, several Liberty-themed designs appeared, including the capped bust-seated Liberty and winged Liberty Mercury Dime. The Mercury Dime, minted from 1916 to 1945, was highly admired for its artistry. However, with President Roosevelt's death in April 1945, public sentiment led to a swift redesign of the dime to honor him. President Roosevelt had been instrumental in combating polio, and the March of Dimes campaign, which he supported, used the dime as a symbolic weapon in the fight against disease. The dime thus became both tribute and legacy. The Roosevelt Dime was designed by John R. Sinek in a matter of weeks. However, controversy followed when conspiracy theorists claimed Sinek's initials, JS, stood for Joseph Stalin, a myth that the U.S. Mint had to publicly debunk. The 1970s were a transitional time for the U.S. Mint. It was adapting to modern technology, mass production, and changing economic realities like the end of the gold standard in 1971 and inflation throughout the decade. The year 1975 was especially interesting because the bicentennial celebrations were underway, while quarters, half dollars, and dollar coins were given. 1776 to 1976 dual dates. The dime was not altered for the occasion. Some collectors question why the dime didn't receive a bicentennial redesign, considering its prominent place in American pockets, but the U.S. Mint opted to maintain consistency with the Roosevelt design for simplicity and continuity. Though 1975 dimes saw no design change, their production still reflected bicentennial enthusiasm, as special 1975s proof sets were produced with high care and finish, sold to collectors as keepsakes of the historic celebration. The 1975 Liberty Dimes clad composition reflected the broader economic shift away from precious metals. Silver coins had been removed from general circulation starting in 1965 due to hoarding and rising metal prices. This change marked a new era in American coinage, where the intrinsic value of the metal was less than the face value of the coin, reducing hoarding and allowing coins to circulate more freely. Although composed of less valuable metals, the clad dimes retained durability, ease of minting, and clarity in design, a win for both economic and practical considerations. The 1975 dime is often studied by collectors for die varieties, such as minor differences in how the lettering, date, or mint marks were struck. Thank you for watching. Like, share, and subscribe to the Coin World.